Welcome, welcome, welcome to another exciting edition of the Renatus J.A.M. My name is Jay Stark.
And I'm Matt Snyder.
And we are coming to you once again live. We called an audible not 20 minutes ago and dropped it on Aaron that we wanted to go live for everybody. And he's like, wait, you want to do what? So we're coming to you a few minutes later than what we anticipated. But the fact that we're coming to you live at all just speaks to the brilliance that is found in none other than our very own Mr. Aaron Peterson.
What's up, everybody?
Hi, Aaron.
Happy to be here. Happy to do it.
Nice.
We do what we want.
Nice. Okay. This was such a strong open for yet another awesome podcast.
Yep.
So, Matthew, what's new and exciting?
Man, I got this fantastic hat.
That's a great looking hat.
You like it?
It matches my shirt.
Renatusstore.com.
Oh, nice. Good plug.
Shameless plug. Yes.
It's not really self-promoting, so is it really shameless? I mean, it's just a plug for
I love Renatus.
The Renatus store.
I bleed blue.
If you bleed blue, we've got a problem. That's something else entirely.
All right. Things are good.
Right.
How about yourself, Jay?
I'm doing really well. So, the bomb that we have dropped, a week ago, 10 days ago now, was the new comp plan.
Mm-hmm.
How have people been reacting and responding? What has the response been from what you've seen with the new comp plan?
Mostly good, like 98% good. Obviously, you cannot please everybody, but the vast majority are very excited. I think that it especially is exciting for people looking to bring new ICMs on board.
Oh, yeah.
Because now they can make money right out of the gate.
Yeah,
so
buddy.
I think that's huge. Let alone, I mean, that gets somebody fired up and motivated a lot quicker.
Yeah.
The sandbagging. I won't name names. I talked to somebody this week. Okay.
Thank you
yesterday.
For not throwing somebody under the bus.
No. I'm just meaning.
But you know who you are, somebody.
Somebody, yeah. And he was talking about how he lost a very prominent somebody. To the roll-up that I'm sure would be a very healthy...
Somebody lost somebody who did something.
Somebody lost somebody
else.
Yes, who did something. Yep. So you know who you are.
It occurred to me just the other day. I was driving into work and I was thinking about in a lot of the media that you see right now, you see the words unprecedented.
Yeah.
And it's the new norm and things like that. And I thought, you know what? Inside of Renatus, we have several changes that have happened that it feels, like we could say, oh, this is unprecedented or this is the new norm. And the fact of the matter is it's not unprecedented. And honestly, this is normal. This has always been normal. Renatus has always been on the cutting edge of innovation, making sure that we are providing the tools for people that are best going to help them create their own success.
Yep.
And so this is not unprecedented. Welcome to normal.
Yep. We help our people succeed, and thus we succeed in return, right?
Yeah, buddy.
And so we take care of the field. It's always been it.
And it's so funny how many times I get asked, Jay, how can we help the corporate team? What can we do for you guys? The answer is always the same. I'm going to look right at the camera. The answer is always the same.
Sell.
Really, Matthew? You can't even. There was a dramatic silence, and you were like.
You asked the question. I was just, was it rhetorical or?
No. Well, kind of.
They can't speak. Well, maybe they can. Maybe they're commenting. I am not looking at that.
You're killing me, Matthew. Killing me.
Wait, so what was it, Jay?
It was sell. Thank you. Okay. You know what? With no further ado, I think it's time that we introduce our special guests for this edition of the Renatus J.A.M. We have none other than our compliance directive officer counsel. What's your title?
On my door, it says Compliance Counsel.
There we go. Compliance Counsel or Counselor, Krista.
Compliance counselor.
I don't know. Compliance.
Maybe.
Compliance and
Depends on the
family
day.
counselor. Yes.
That is not.
I do not want any family counseling calls.
Oh man, sometimes it feels
801
like
555.
sometimes it feels like we actually do some of that a little bit. But we're happy to have you. We also have our general counsel, Mr. Rick Mortensen. And Rick, for half a second there, I like spaced your last name. But I'm happy that you're here.
It's good to be here. I'm so excited. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to say like Jay and Matt in the morning. Sorry, that's a long time. That's an old show. Anyway, community.
Hey, those of you that are watching, drop a comment if you saw Rick's song at Nationals. Tell us what you think.
Oh man,
That
yes.
was
It was amazing.
fantastic.
And if you want an encore, let us know.
Yes. Yes.
And I hope
I
that
want one.
I hope you're prepared, Rick.
Today I might not be, but I actually have to see it. I didn't actually write it down. I kind of wrote it hastily, so I've got it.
Wow.
Recording, and I could probably do, but probably not by today. So.
Wow. You did that from memory? Up on stage? I mean, like, you didn't write it at all and, memorize? I mean, obviously you had it memorized, but...
I wrote some words down, and I have a lead sheet somewhere, but I don't even think I have that
wow.
with me. But it's easily reconstructible if I see the recording. I just
Yeah.
haven't
All
seen
right.
it since I laid it down.
Well,
But
Nice.
thank
I
you.
know who can get you that recording, Aaron.
Aaron.
Yeah, I can.
Sweet. he can do it.
Definitely can do that.
We have answered the question as to whether or not he can do it.
You know what? Victoria Jarvis let us know right on the comment line. She said it was amazing, Rick. So I think we need an encore. We need a round 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
buddy.
can write a sequel. I
Nice.
can write a follow-up.
The sequel. Compliance, the sequel. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, I like that.
A
Yes.
sophomore album.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, this is
Yes.
getting better and better. So I want to ask you guys just a couple of questions. I want to give our Renatus community an opportunity to get to know you two both individually a little bit better. So, Krista, I'm going to start with you if that's all right, Rick.
Yeah.
I want to know, why did you get into, so you are a licensed attorney here in the state of Utah, correct?
Yes.
Why did you get into law? That
So-
almost sounds bad. Like, why would you
Like,
do
okay,
that?
How
yeah,
dare
tell
you.
us, like, what on earth happened in your life that drove you to do this?
I was the oldest child.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's
yeah.
you gotta do something.
Wait
I
a second.
know.
I don't
Putting
understand that.
up with all
It's like
those
the oldest
younger
child
siblings.
syndrome. It's like
Ugh.
you find something.
So
I don't know.
what was it about the law that attracted you, where you were like, oh yeah, that's my something? What was it that really made you focus in on that?
So it was actually when I was 14. I had read a book, and to this day, I still don't even remember the name of the book, and that drives me crazy. But I read this book, and there was a woman in there. She was the prosecuting attorney in there, and it just, everything that she did, every step of the way, you know, even outside of the courtroom, just all of her behaviors in helping people, it instilled that passion in me, and that's what I wanted to do. I was like, I want to help people. And there was no way I could be a doctor. So I was like, yep, I can help people in law.
Well, that's interesting. That's really cool. We should ask the Renatus Nation if they know what book you're talking about.
Yes, please.
What
If someone can find me what book that is,
what else can you describe it for us just a little
I
bit?
don't even remember.
Nothing. That's all she's got. Okay, well, that's incredibly
If
vague.
anyone knows any books that has an attorney in it and was like a bestseller or normal book, I don't even want to say.
Normal book?
Normal.
Like-
Wow. Did you just feel that like what you normal people would read?
Okay, I say normal because I'm used to children's books right now.
Oh,
So I mean like a
gotcha.
novel, one that you can read yourself and
Gotcha.
enjoy yourself.
Was it Jurassic Park? That had a lawyer in it.
There you go.
No, but I feel like that's what my life is right now.
You know, it could have been, you know, back in the day, John Grisham was a really popular author that covered a lot of legal stuff. So
That's
I
true.
don't know if
Pelican
it's a-
Brief.
I don't know.
Oh, it could have been the Pelican Brief.
No, it wasn't. I've read that one. It was really good,
Just
but
the
it was
Brief.
It was different. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
This will be my new homework assignment. I'm
There
going to
you
have
go.
to find out
There
what
you
book that
go.
is.
Renatus Nation, let's see if we can beat her to it. Let's find out what
Yes.
book this was.
No kidding.
Okay,
It is a race I'm
was
willing to
it-
lose if someone can find it fast.
give us an approximate year. I don't want to ask your age. I'm not going to fall into that trap again.
Good call.
But give us an approximate year.
I don't know. It would have been
Probably around 2000.
2005.
Yeah, she was 14
yeah.
in 2005. Yep.
Yep. 2005.
Okay, she's like, I was. All right.
No, like more like 1995.
Okay. So somewhere in the mid 90s, book
Yeah.
about female prosecuting attorney who helps people. So your desire is to help people.
It is.
So then let me ask you, what experiences have you had between being 14 and now with the law that have really helped you know that legally or the law is the way for you to help individuals?
So it started when I was doing my undergrad studies. I did some internships with the county attorney's office there, helped out with a whole bunch of different cases there, lots of persons, crimes, things, all the things that are not nice.
Right.
And it was so rewarding to me to be able to help and sit with those victims and discuss things and find ways, solutions that could help them, outside of the emotions, outside of the everyday things that they needed to do, what I could do behind the scenes. And I really loved that. And that kind of stemmed, into more internships that became a passion for me. I was like, oh, well, this is exactly where I need to be. And during law school, and then after, I did some prosecuting with the Sandy City Attorney's Office. Loved that as well, and thought, hey, this is where I belong. Until Renatus came along, I went to the Attorney General's office for a year, and still I was like, okay, I want to help people. I want to help, but I just don't feel like I'm right there doing it yet. And then I came here, and it's been great. I not only get to help within the internal team and doing everything here, but then I get to help all of our marketers on the outside, and I love that.
Okay, so you led me right into where I was going, which was how did your experience lead you into joining up with Renatus? So let me ask it a little bit differently then. Why was Renatus the right avenue for you? What was it? I mean, you said that you had been, part of these with Sandy City and then with the AG's office for a while. What was it about Renatus where you thought, this is where I'm going to be able to impact people for good?
So the first time that I knew for certain was regional or nationals 2 years ago.
Oh,
It was.
that's where it goes from your head to your heart.
That's right. And it did. It totally did. You guys got me.
Remind me, you were here like a month before that, right?
I was here a few months before
months?
that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was just doing contract stuff behind the scenes, helping Nicole with contracts
Yep,
and
that's
reviewing
right.
things and
Yeah.
all of that fun stuff. And
Okay.
and then nationals hit, and I was like, oh, I love everything that this company stands for.
Yeah.
And because not only can I do stuff to help people, but that's what this entire company is built upon, is
Right.
helping others.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
It's the quote from Mahatma Gandhi that's right in our mission statement, that we should be the change we wish to see in the world. So it's so awesome that the national conference was the turning point for you to go all in, because I feel like it is that for so many other people as well,
I think so too.
where they see the reality of what they can create and they go all in.
Yep.
I've heard that a bunch of times. So let me segue here for just a moment. And Rick, let's talk to you for just a second. So why did you go into law? What attracted you to the legal side of the world?
It's kind of interesting. So I, my undergrad degree is in music, and while I was in college, I started writing for the college newspaper. I started doing music reviews for the college paper, and then I became the editor. And then after I graduated, I got a job in Southern California, writing for a newspaper. And so that was my first full-time job out of college. And there were kind of two things that happened while I was there. The first was newspapers were just going away. This was like 2000, 2001.
Right.
Every time, someone would leave the newsroom at my little newspaper, they wouldn't replace him or her. They just kind of say, okay, someone else, you have their beat now. And so I kind of sensed that like print journalism, daily print journalism was not like a secure place to be. But the other thing is, as I was interviewing people, and I mostly covered entertainment, I noticed that most of the movers and shakers were lawyers. And, and I always kind of had that as a thing that I thought I could do, with being a lawyer. My dad was a lawyer, and I always kind of thought, well, that it sounded like something that maybe I would enjoy, and I like to read, I like to talk, things like that. And so after, I guess, maybe 4 years at the paper, kind of realizing that, and the other thing about writing for a newspaper is you're just kind of a spectator. You're watching other people make things happen. And so it's kind of like a desire to get kind of a more grown-up job. I was very green, desire to get a more grown-up job, a desire to be kind of one of the movers and shakers that was actually making things happen. And then just kind of a desire to be like my dad, and have the kind of career trajectory he did. I decided to go to law school, and so I did that. And then first job was actually working for my dad, and that just kind of happened because he had a case that he started to send me things to write for it, briefs. It was kind of a hairy case with a lot of discovery and a lot of briefs and motions and things like that. And he said, well, look, I'll pay you a few dollars an hour, and while you're in law school, just kind of work on this. And I started working on it.
Aren't there laws against that? A few dollars an hour?
Yeah, right.
A few it wasn't bad. It was about what I'd make doing other stuff, if I were doing internships for people out there.
Right.
So that's kind of how I landed. I went to law school in Iowa, but I landed back in Utah because this case was kind of heating up, and I just decided to go work for my dad for a while. And did you want the whole career trajectory or just why law?
That's I was more why law, but at the same time, that's pretty fascinating. So you went from Southern California to Iowa.
I know, of all places. That's what I was thinking. And then to Utah.
And then
right?
back to Utah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, my wife had a lot to do with Iowa. Just when we lived in LA, we couldn't really afford a house.
Right.
And she thought it was time for us to buy a house, and we could totally afford a house in Iowa. Those of you out there in the Renatus community in Iowa know that in the early 2000s, while the Southern California real estate market was, going crazy, Iowa was holding pretty steady. And so, that was one of the decisions, and the other one is just kind of change of the pace of life, and you couldn't get more opposite than Iowa from Southern California. So
Right.
it's a nice place to go to school, no distractions.
So what really attracted you to the law? You said that your dad was a lawyer. You said that you had, that ambition to potentially join him and things along those lines. What really resonated with you that made you feel like, especially with your musical background and with your, wanting to pursue that, why did you think, yes, the law is where I'm going to land?
That's interesting. I don't know. It's kind of the bastion of the undecided. A lot of people say, but I think a lot of it. So, Krista mentioned a book. I remember my freshman year of college, I saw the movie A Few Good Men, and that influenced me because at the time I was thinking of changing my major to philosophy, and I recognized in the way that they were, A Few Good Men is really good courtroom drama because it hinges on a cross-examination. It hinges on boxing someone in with questions. They boxed in Colonel Jessup with questions. And the whole idea was what you say is followed because you're this tough guy. And basically so therefore you must have ordered this code red. That was kind of the plot. And I remember thinking, the way that I arrive at truth is not through reading philosophical text. It's through questions. The way I arrive at truth is questions and kind of like an analytical way, like, okay, if this is the rule, if the rule is everything you say is followed, ergo, everything you say, was this an anomaly, this thing that happened on your watch, or was this
Right.
does this support this image you have of yourself? And so I kind of got into that, even while I was majoring in music and thinking of a different career path. I kind of always admired law and admired the way that lawyers, reason things out, and that never really went away. I remember I interviewed when I was a journalist, I interviewed the founder of Kung Fu Records, which is a punk label, and his name's Joe Escalante. He was the bassist for the Vandals. He wrote "Oi to the World," which is a punk rock Christmas carol that no doubt later recorded. But anyway, I was interviewing him, and I discovered I was interviewing him mostly about his legal career. And I was like, why am I? He's got more interesting things to talk about for my readers, but I just kept wanting to know. Well, and he went to Loyola Law School, and I realized that I kind of wanted that kind of grounding. And he said, yeah, it's very valuable just in what I do. It's valuable to be able to know how the world works, to know how the rules work, to know how contracts work, because that's kind of the underlying foundation of the world. And so, yeah, I think I was always attracted to that. So I was attracted to the cross-examination aspect and just the, knowing how the world works kind of aspect of it. And by the way, the knowing how the works aspect of it is kind of what led me from litigation, which is what I was doing with my dad. That we tried that case together and we won, and it was a great experience. And it was a long couple weeks in trial, and then I kept doing that. I kept doing trial work, but I got a job. My next job was at Overstock.com as an in-house attorney, doing mostly the copyrights and the trademarks and the deals with our talent. We had a advertising talent, and so that was interesting to me because it allowed me to kind of get into the entertainment law aspect, which is something when I wrote a law review article about entertainment law. It was published in the Vanderbilt Journal of Entertainment Law, and so I was kind of always into that. And then I kind of think I found a home in housework at Overstock, because it's like, who do you go to when you want to make a decision? You go to, of course, your accountants. You say, hey, is this going to make sense? Show me some numbers. But you also go to your lawyer and say, is this going to make legal sense?
Right.
A, am I going to go to jail? But B, do we need to protect ourselves with certain language in the contract? Do we need to stay on the right side of the law? And that's always been attractive to me, just kind of knowing. And it's a learning kind of thing too. You always have to learn about the statutes. You have to read the contract, and sometimes it leads you down other rabbit holes and things like that. But just having on the kind of the side of things, the side of things of the underlying laws and the underlying contracts. So something that's attractive to me.
So let me ask you. Let's fast forward through Overstock. What led you to Renatus? What made you land here and think, this is where I'm going to start being able to impact people. This is where I'm going to start being able to help decisions be made and help to insulate the company moving forward. Why Renatus?
Well, I think it was two things. First thing is, after Overstock, I was there for 3 years, and then I left and started my own practice for a while, and I was doing both commercial law and litigation. But then the next in-house gig that came my way was at Jamberry Nails, which was a multi-level marketing, kind of in the party plan model. And when you talk about the comp plan, by the way, we had a Dan Jensen comp plan, stair-step breakaway, which is kind of in the biz, a little bit like our new comp plan at Renatus. Bob put his own spin on it for sure, but the idea that you make money right off anyway. So I went and joined Jamberry Nails, and I kind of saw them through their whole business cycle. I joined before they were purchased by a private equity company, so I got to be there while they were having their explosive growth, and then I got there when they were purchased by a private equity company, and then I got to watch their explosive plummet as the private equity company kind of mismanaged them a little bit. But in the process, I really fell in love is probably a strong word, but I got to appreciate the ins and outs of multi-level marketing law, and it's a very interesting field of law for a guy like me that appreciates nuance, because the rules aren't spelled out explicitly, but they
Right.
are spelled out, and there's kind of an art to how do you market something and stay on the right side of the FTC rules and make sure you're not committing fraud and things like that, And so the first thing that brought me to Renatus is I really like multi-level marketing law. And so after Jamberry finally wound down completely, and by the way, the Jamberry brand was purchased, and I helped with that, and I'm proud of that because you can still buy a Jamberry nail decal, Jamberry nail sticker from the Youngevity Corporation. I'm glad they landed someplace. But the next gig I had was at Rio Tinto, which is a mining company, a multi-billion-dollar international company, and my job was just to do contracts, just long, 50-page personal services contracts for mining services, for engineering services, for equipment, for things like that. And starting to glaze over just talking about it because it wasn't the most exciting. And so when
No, tell us about these 50-page. I want to hear every page.
So we had a long form and a short form.
Oh man, no.
No, so I mean, it was a good experience, and I learned a lot. And one thing I really miss about the only thing I really miss about Rio Tinto is my boss was in Montreal, so I got to travel there. That's a beautiful city, especially on an expense account where you have really nice restaurants. But when Renatus opened up, it was like, first of all, yes, I want to get back into multi-level marketing law for sure. But second, I got to meet Bob, and to meet somebody that's a visionary, that's kind of a free thinker, and somebody who actually believes strongly in what he's selling. And I thought, well, this is attractive to me for that reason too, because this is something that people, it is changing people's lives. And from a legal standpoint, the videos, the intellectual property that you own, the filming, all of that is kind of in my areas of interest of law. The fact that your main product is access to intellectual property is interesting to me. But really the thing that pulled me in and, led me to kind of take a flyer on this was Bob's vision. When I had my interview, we talked for like 3 hours.
Oh, that was a long interview.
Bob and I are both talkers. But I just felt like this is a guy who's figured it out, who's figured out what he has to teach the world and wants to give it to the world. And I thought, well, it can't be much better than that. And if they have a way that they can use me, well, great.
That's awesome. It's really interesting to me as I've talked with members of the corporate team and asking them why they came on board, just how much of an influence Bob had directly on them to help them to see the vision of what Renatus is and where it's going, what it will become. So that's actually pretty cool. Let me ask this question, and Krista, I think I'm going to volley this one over to you. So I know that you're compliance counsel. And so I know that your focus, your scope, it encompasses a lot of the compliance aspects that we're currently dealing with. And you came out just recently, yesterday. It was yesterday on the PAC call, and we're talking with the PAC and Pit a little bit about what compliance is and what compliance isn't. And so give us kind of that breakdown. What is compliance in Renatus, and what is compliance not in Renatus?
So inside Renatus, the compliance that I'm looking at and going over is making sure that marketing is done in a way that's not deceptive, that everything that's displayed to people is honest. We want our customers to have all of the information. We want them to know, hey, you know what? This is exactly what I'm looking for. This is everything that I've been looking for. Don't give them ideas of why it's what they're looking for. Let them be the ones to decide that for themselves. Give them all of the honest numbers, give them all of the honest information, all of the package options, and then let them do their homework. Let them find what's going to work best for them. And then you're doing it in a compliant way. If you're not giving guarantees, you're not making promises, you're not telling them that they're going to have all of these things that they might not be able to attain, even though someone else has, then you're able to stay within the compliance boundaries. The things that are not matters dealing with compliance are people's outside dealings, outside real estate deals, for example. It's hard to come out and say, don't do deals with anybody. Don't do deals with anyone. Learn how, but then don't go and do it.
Right.
And that's not what we want to do. We want people to be successful in their real estate. We want them to be able to do that too. We just don't have any control from a compliance standpoint, from a legal standpoint, on behalf of the company to be able to look into how someone does their real estate dealings.
Right. So what's the number one question that people ask you? Because I know that you've started to reach out to people proactively and helping them to really moderate some of the messages that they're promoting, and just saying, hey, you know what, this may be getting a little too close to the line, or this is over the line, or whatever. What's the number one question that people ask you in response to your correspondence with them?
Oh, I don't know what the number one.
Okay, well, what's something that maybe a lot of people ask you then?
So a lot of people ask how to keep their marketing and their real estate separate. That seems to come up a lot. They want to know how they can market the education without incorporating their real estate. And my response is usually pretty simple. If you've got a website, make sure that they're both separate. If you want to have a link to the other one, then that's fine too, as long as they're both separate and people can tell that there's a difference. We just don't want to see people advertising it's their education.
Okay.
So, hey, this is our education, and I've got deals that I'm doing too. So if you want to get into some real estate deals, we can do both. That's where that line gets crossed a lot.
Gotcha. So I know that as people are receiving emails from you, compliance seems like this big, kind of an overbearing, very cold word, and you seem like the big bad wolf to me. So
I totally am.
tell me, you're not keeping files on people. This is not something where you're going out there and looking for a problem and saying, now we're holding this against you forever.
No, not at all.
What's the real focus of compliance then? What are you hoping to accomplish?
100% helping to make sure that not only is the company protected, but that our ICMs are protected as well.
Nice. That's awesome. I really like to think about compliance as being kind of the guardrails. Mm-hmm. These are going to be the guardrails on the side of the bridge so that you don't go over. We're going to stop you from going over the bridge and doing something that could potentially hurt you or others. So that's kind of how I look at compliance.
Yeah, it's a good analogy.
Like
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought of that.
You just came up with that right
All
here
by
on
myself.
the spot.
On the spot.
Yes.
He got it from the book that I read when I was 14.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. We have actually 7 or 8 different books in the. I'm just kidding. We don't.
Darn it! I was so excited.
No, our live audience has not yet come up with the book that you are missing.
Well, I gave so much detail on it and information.
It was.
Yeah, there was a lawyer and it was a book. Go.
And the main character was female. So.
Yes.
All right.
I know.
Aaron Brockovich.
No.
That's not bad, I guess.
Thanks for trying, though, Aaron.
Yeah.
I
Aaron with an A.
Yes.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Okay.
Nope.
Now we're really getting off course. So, Rick, let me ask you then. So, what's your focus right now inside of Renatus?
I have a few focuses. We're doing some expansion, which is kind of cool. We're doing some. Can I mention the foreign language? We're getting ready.
You kind of just did. So
I know. We're getting ready to be able to launch in a big way to the Spanish-speaking community. And so I'm getting the documents ready there. And a lot of it is just kind of when I first got here, I did change things quite a bit as far as the guide and
Right.
kind of the rules for how to market things. And so a lot of it is just kind of implementing that and making sure that's clear in the various documents and clear to the field. And Krista's doing most of the dealing directly with the field, which is great. And so there's quite a few projects that we're working on that you're going to see.
Nice.
In the future.
That's awesome. When I was a kid, I used to think that lawyers were kind of these highfalutin, very calculated individuals, but getting to know both of you a little bit better has given me opportunity to understand that at your core, you guys are truly, like Krista, like you just said, wanting to help people. Mm-hmm. You want to help people through the medium of making sure that they are protected, they're protecting themselves, they're protecting others, and that you're really creating a safe environment for them to operate within. I think that's very noteworthy, and if our field were ever to hear from either one of you, what would be something that you'd want them to know about you before they hear from you?
Who do you want to go first?
Either one of you. Krista, why don't we go with you first?
Oh, I don't know. Know that I'm fun and I'm understanding and that I care and that I want to hear about it. I want to hear what's going on and maybe their perspective too. I want to know why they maybe disagree with something that I have said or or if they have a different view on it, let me know.
So
and I'll see if we can work and meet in the middle.
Wait.
I'm waiting.
Thank you. So you're trying to tell me that you're not infallible?
I'm not.
You know what? Rick, help me out here.
It's hard to believe, right?
I thought.
So Rick, before, what would be one thing that you'd want people to know about you? If they got an email from you or if they were interacting with you, what's one thing that you would hope that people would keep in mind as you're interacting with them?
I care about sales. I mean, you kind of everything I do, every rule that I make is ultimately so you can keep selling, so you can keep building your business and making things better. And when I say don't make lifestyle claims, don't make lifestyle guarantees, don't promise people that they're going to be able to quit their jobs or things like that, that's because if the FTC comes down on us, there won't be any more sales and there won't be any more things like that. But at the same time, there is a compliant way to market that you can really, really do a good job and you can have amazing sales. If you market compliantly, you'll actually have more sales than if you market and you kind of cut the corners and try and maybe make representations you shouldn't. If you're telling everyone exactly what they need to know, you're giving them an income disclosure statement, and you're if you do tell people how much you make, you're giving them the income disclosure statement. You're not telling them, hey, I guarantee you're going to make money. Instead, you're just showing them the comp plan and letting them set their own goals. You're gonna have the added benefit of selling more and growing your business. But that's what I kind of want people to know, that I sit in those meetings. I know we need to sell, and I also know that I also believe in the education. So I want to get it in the hands of as many people as possible.
Nice. So it sounds like you're saying something that I'm sure lots of kids have heard, which is honesty is the best policy.
Yes.
Yep.
Definitely.
All right. So what were you going to say, Matt?
No, as you know, like we all, the four of us here, have been to a bunch of compliance conferences and stuff like that. And that is always my takeaway. Mm-hmm. Honesty is the best policy.
Yep.
So that's all I was going to add.
I feel like we could just be like, okay, and that's it. We're done.
We're done.
I mean,
now you know compliance.
That's right. Honesty is the best policy.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So what's been the funniest thing that's happened to you guys since you've been at Renatus? Rick, let's start with you on this one.
Funniest?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. It's funny when I first started. I think I'd been here about a week, and Bob said, "Hey, when I was doing a deep dive, and I still don't know which social media account he saw this on, so I'm a little nervous, but he said, I'm doing a deep dive, and I saw that you've written some songs about corporate law. that. So I know you do that. How about you write a song for our conference?" And I thought, I don't know, Bob. I kind of have to be inspired. But then I was inspired. So that was kind of the funniest thing, being asked to write a song for. And like I said in my presentation, Bob was probably the ninth person to ever click on that YouTube link of me playing piano.
Little do you know, he was 9 through 14.
Right. Yeah.
Right. That's right. That was a kick to be able to contribute in that way. That was really fun.
That's awesome. I was going to say the funniest story that I know since you've been here is getting the cops called on you at like midnight. Yeah, that was kind of my fault. So just to give everybody a little bit of clarity, I get a reminder if the alarm isn't set in the building at like 10:30 at night, and so every once in a while I'll just arm the building without looking at the cameras first to make sure there's no one here. And I may have set the alarm off on Rick one time.
Thank you, Centerville PD. I know.
I should keep better. I mean, that night I had this thing I just wanted to get done, and it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I still was just kind of hammering away at it. And so I was here pretty late. I probably should have texted you and said, "Hey, I'm still here."
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Krista, what about you? What's one of the funniest experiences you've had since being here?
So apparently attorneys have problems with being here late, because mine is also an incident that happened late at night.
Oh, I know this one.
You already know this one.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. This is a good one.
So staying late, this was back when Nicole was still here, right before Rick had come on. We were staying late working on a few things, updating a few things, and we decided to call in some dinner probably around 8:30. So it was already dark out. It was probably,
It was winter.
It was winter, yeah. So it was already dark out.
It was definitely dark.
And we had forgotten that an unnamed person took a Mr. Bean cutout with crazy eyes and leaned it over the top of the stairs.
I'm the unnamed person.
Yes, you are.
She's trying not to throw me under the bus. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for taking care of it yourself. And the poor delivery girl came up and brought us our food and was like, "That just scared me so bad." We're like, "What?" She's like, "That thing out there." I was like, "Oh no." You've got two attorneys sitting in a conference room who just scared the living daylights
in a dark
poor
building.
delivery girl. Yeah, all the lights are out.
All the lights are out because they're on
here.
sensors and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was waiting for a complaint to come in from her, but if you're out there listening, thank you.
She's probably dead from a heart attack.
No.
Yeah.
She's not.
Oh, man.
She ended up thinking it was funny. That's what I am telling myself.
That's good. That's good.
You just
She
keep
left
telling
laughing.
yourself that. Yeah.
No, inside she was laughing.
Laughing or crying, you pick.
It may have been both.
She was in shock.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what it was.
Yes, she was.
She was in shock. Oh, that's funny. Well, I tell you what, getting to know you guys a little bit better over the past several months, and even now being able to share some of the stories and some of the thoughts that you guys are having, it really gives me optimism. It gives me a lot of hope that Renatus is headed the right direction, and you guys are really here to serve and assist the Renatus family in making sure that they can create that success sustainably in the future. And I really appreciate all the efforts that you guys are going to make sure that you're protecting the Renatus family.
Thank you. Rick and I are a great team. We work really well together, and it's just going to keep getting better.
Awesome.
Definitely. This is a great situation for both of us, I think.
Awesome. So any parting thoughts as we wrap up the call then? Anything you want to share just real quick?
Just that you guys are all awesome out there. You're doing great things and continue to keep doing it.
All right.
Yeah,
Rick?
I would echo. Keep on keeping on. Keep up with the stuff we're sending you on the website, and because it's all there to help you. You know, occasionally Krista will send an email. Be sure you read that. Occasionally I'll put a handout up on Helios. Be sure you read that too. But we're here to help, and you inspire us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you, Rick.
That is really awesome. Yeah. So, I'm going to try really, really hard to, if we're going live next Tuesday, to let everybody out in video land know that, everybody on the Facebook Live and everything, that we're going live when we do, so that you're not caught off guard again. I love going live. Live is a lot of fun because I love seeing people hop on here. I love seeing a couple of the questions that have come through, and I think that if we actually build for it a little bit, we'll have an audience here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't even know we were going live till I got here. So, you know, there was no notification, which that's not it's not a bad thing. We do this nonetheless. So, but
the show must go on.
I'm just saying, I think if we give people a heads up. But the other thing I noticed, like, I'm pretty sure that I've got a notification bell on the Founders Webinar group, right?
Yes.
But I did not see this come up, this live stream. Anyways,
so explain to us
for it.
Explain to us how you get the notifications for social media, especially on Facebook.
Good question. With the group, I did it a while ago, but I just went to the Founders Webinar, and then I think when you follow or something, there's a bell or something that you click. So my issue is what I'm saying is I didn't see this live come up. So I'm wondering, is that something maybe we need to set up, Aaron? I don't know, on the page, like when we go live, do we need to kick some, is there a setting or something that we
notification, if you're subscribed to the group and you have notifications on, it should tell you.
It should
tell you when it goes live.
And you have the ability to see, all posts, highlights, friend posts are off on the notifications. And then you also have the ability to see it first. I'm trying to think about how you do that.
But also, if you keep in mind that we're going to try and go live Tuesdays around, if not right at 1 o'clock every Tuesday,
Mountain Time.
And I'll start putting events on here as well that people can look forward to.
Those are helpful,
so people
can say that they're going or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, and then it's reposted on Spotify soon, hopefully to iTunes. We're working on that. There's some odd data that they require, but you can find us on Spotify and YouTube the next day, Wednesday, both the audio and the video podcast on the Renatus YouTube page. And so if you missed something, then you can replay it right on Facebook. So
yes, you can.
This video will be
absolutely
available. So.
There's no excuse not to watch and listen to our podcast.
None whatsoever. And if you don't watch it, Krista's gonna send you an email.
She's not going to send you an email.
I just
need to be very, very clear about that.
You're going to be on her permanent
We are
record.
Not creating any permanent records about who it does and does not. I want to thank everybody who watched the podcast, everybody that takes part every single week. We're going to come back to you next week, and I'm going to commit to it now. We're going to be live next week with you with another surprise guest that you're absolutely going to love hearing from. So invite all your friends, your neighbors, and everyone else, because just like Matt and I both know, Renatus rocks.
I think it rocks too.
Oh, you did it right this time.